Welcome everybody to our pre-match press conference for the upcoming match this Wednesday between Cavalry and Ottawa. Joseph, if you have any questions, you can go ahead first if you'd like.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this today. I guess, Coach Wheeldon, my first question would be your thoughts on José Escalante's strong performance in your first game and what he brings to the club in his return.
Delighted he is back. We missed him in 2019. We took a good run at it, but it's no secret that, the injuries during the Island Games cost us at the back end of it, because we'd had a great run, won the regular table going through, and then we were still missing both Richard Luca and José Escalante that would have been part of that squad last year. Fortunately, we've added both. José does what José does best. He's a menace to the opposition. He's got a terrific left foot, as you're seeing with even his corners. Great delivery for Sergio's goals. Those guys have picked up where they left off in 2019. So I was delighted for him because I know what it means to him personally. He missed us, we missed him. And what a great way for the Cavs fans to see him back on the pitch for us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph. Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, Tommy, just to pick up on that, you said they picked up a great relationship with Sergio. I know after the game they said that they noticed if one of them wants to run in and get inside the fullback, just the verbal cues there. What's it like as a coach when you've got players, top class players like that can see things on the pitch that you don't have to wait to half time to give them that kind of information?
Well, and that's the thing what I've mentioned before about chemistry. Those two have it because they've played together and they sing from the same hymn sheet when they're on the training ground, and just it's that recognition. As a coaching staff, we can do so much and say, right, here's the formation in attack, here's the formation in defense, here's what we want to see, and you can work through as many patterns as you want. The players make the decisions ultimately, and they've got it. What excites me now is, in Ali Musi and Jose Hernandez, we've got another couple more attackers, and in Oliver Minatel and Joe Mason, we got more to come into this mix. So all we've got to do is spend a ton of time on the training pitch, and the relationships will blossom. But those two just, like I say, they sing from the same hymn sheet now, which is great.
And just to follow up, mate, ahead of the game, what did you think of Ottawa? First match of the season was quite impressive.
Yeah, solid. I think they do what their parent club does, right? They, suck the game at you. They're very tactically astute. It's one of them. You've got to be patient with them. We learned that even the hard way in the Island Games. They've got a good discipline about them. They've got physicality to them. They can play when they want to play. They can bite when they need to bite. And they played right to the last minute, because that game could have swung against Edmonton. The Powley save on Ongaro makes it a different game. And then go on the other end, Martinez scoring. And then they just sort the game out. So their game management is good. They're the dangerous ones. We've asterisked because they've had the best pre-season. So we know going into it, they may have the upper hand in terms of fitness levels at this point. But we got a couple aces up our sleeve that we wish to play as well.
Thank you, Christian. Brady, if you'd like to ask a question, you can go ahead.
But thank you, Paige. Tommy, thanks for taking the time. Obviously, you spoke a little bit about the attack, but I guess one of the biggest questions in your mind had been how is it going to look defensively without Dom? And obviously, pretty solid. You can see the one goal, but it's from a set piece. So what do you think of the back four in general and in the newcomer in Dan Klump?
I thought Dan was magnificent. Like I said, it's always hard to lose a player like Dom as a tour, because he's worked with him since he was a kid. But like with all kids, they have to leave the house at some point and find themselves a new path. And when we found Dan Klump through our recruitment philosophy, we felt he was a great addition, as was Karifa Yout and Tom Field and young Danny Kaiser. They play how we want to play. We want to play out from the back. We want to be tough when it comes, when attacks come. I thought Dan Klump was outstanding. Almost had a chance himself at the other end. But in Marco Carducci, we've got a vocal and quality goalkeeper behind him. So we're comfortable. We'll keep working at it. We didn't concede an open play. We don't intend on giving a lot of goals or letting people inside our box that often. And I think we'll grow from that.
Yeah, and just as a follow-up, if I may, I know when you brought Dan in, you mentioned he was a guy similar to Mo Farsi in the way that he's sort of fallen through the cracks and perhaps been a little underappreciated. So, speaking of Mo, is him coming in at half, is that just a testament to the depth of the group you guys have this year?
Yeah, we like I said, we're not going to reveal our cards right away. This isn't a tournament to win right off the get-go, but we want to do what's right for each player. You know, Sergio Camargo could have been man of the match yesterday, but we chose the choice to bring him off after 45. Tom Field, the same, you know, very comfortable performance, brought him off after 60. Mo Farsi, we felt we'll just manage his minutes coming into it. We've talked to him before about, you know, he had a great Island Games, but that was a tournament. Now it's a regular professional season. So we can't get too high or too low on ups and downs, but we want to make sure that these players can manage the duration of the season, because we've learned the good way, the hard way, or otherwise, that it's not how you start the season, it's how you finish it. And we intend to be thereabouts in the final whistle. And we've got a strategy to do that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, Brady.
Thank you, Brady. We have a couple minutes left here. If anybody else would like to ask a second question, we do have time for it.
I'd be happy to ask a follow-up if there's time.
No
Thank
problem.
you again. Yeah, Coach Wheeldon, I'm working on a story today about Nicholas Ledgerwood. If you could just tell me a little bit about what his veteran presence brings to the team, that influence that he's had now with his third year with Cavalry.
He's, I think we had a meeting before our first game, because usually, you know, players will have played a bunch of preseason games, so they realize why we as a management team have put this group together. So we went through it, and there was 3 words that we felt summed up leader for Nick. He's a leader, he's influential, and he's a winner. And the thing is as well, if I'd have put his number up on the sub sheet about coming off, he probably wouldn't have spoke to me today. So we knew with him that as some legs, you know, we've joked with Danny Kaiser, because Danny is a machine. You know, you see him, he's got like these Jack Grealish legs, and it's like he's had the super soldier serum instead of the vaccine. But he started to cramp up, and you know, he's a young player. So Nick Ledgerwood slots in at right back, where he's played tons of times for Canada. And it's just his veteran presence, because we knew that, you know, sometimes in games you just have to see out the clock. And he did that. He's brilliant for us. He influences the training session. He influences the team warm-ups, the banter in the locker room, and the tempo we have as a team. So he's sometimes you don't always see what you get on the pitch, but we know what we get.
Awesome, thank you. I think the only other question I had was after your win against your win from yesterday, what can you take from that to build upon the success for the rest of the season?
Well, if it's anything to look at, it's almost a carbon copy of the 2019 game where we first opened on May 4th, and then the snow hit us. This time it was the sunshine hitting our faces this time. But I think we were 2-0 up, and I think it was about the 78th minute when they scored, and they scored in the first game, and then we went on to have a very good season. So if that's an indicator of how the season will be, we'll be okay with that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Joseph. We have time for one more question. Christian, go ahead.
Thanks, Paige. I just want to ask you, Tommy, about Luca. Obviously, we saw him come in yesterday. Maybe you could just give us a little bit of a backstory about when he first came onto your radar, what your recruitment staff looked at him, and what you think he can do as he comes into the season, obviously looking to try and make a bit of a difference.
Yeah, he's at the end of the 2019 season, we looked at it and we said, well, what were we missing in the final? Because, you know, if this were a regular season, we dominated the league, you know, by substantially, and played against the MLS team, knocked them out, played against another MLS team, and were done by 1 goal in 2 games. So we weren't missing a lot, and we thought just another piece of magic, I think. And he came about through many of our networks. And he's a player that, you know, had played U17 with Brazil. He'd been part of the Santos system and Tigres in Mexico, and then had a bizarre move to Georgia, and something had prevented him from staying there or moving back to Tigres. And he became available. So we offered him the chance in 2020. He took it. Couldn't get in the country. We had him training, but he's almost not played for a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. And he's still only 23. So yesterday you can see he's probably done 17 different step overs because he's been training on a balcony in Brazil somewhere. So that's what he's been working on. But,
enjoying the wide open space.
Step overs. Oh my goodness, yeah. So the big field at IG Field was probably a massive space for him. So if we can get those step and scissors in the opposition's box, we're going to be in good place. We just got to manage him. We've got to give him moments to shine. He like I said, he'll put bums in seats and he'll get them out of it. He's a magic player. he's not match fit yet. So we just got to work with him on that.
Great stuff. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, KJ.
Great. Thank you very much for your questions, everyone. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you, Tommy, for your time and for chatting with us today. And we look forward to seeing you guys back in action again on Wednesday.